morning, guys, from Tampa Bay. It's a nice, relatively cool 80 degrees on a Saturday morning. Nice cloud cover today. That should help temps at least a little while. Got one of our wild ducks here. There's a pond behind these homes right here to the left. And they kind of live at this house right there. So they're constantly crossing the street back and forth to the water. Kind of cute. There's about 6 or 7 of them. One of them got hit by a car last year. But everybody in the neighborhood knows about them, so we just wait for them to cross. Got a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Been up real early as usual. Got up about 3:30. Went out to do a video, cigar review, and man, I walked outside. I opened the patio door and my glasses fogged up. It was just that thick. 3:30 in the morning. Screw that. I mean, not only is it not comfortable, but it screws the cigar up. It really affects the way it burns and tastes, so you can't do it. So I waited until about 7:30 or so, and it finally started to warm up a little bit from the sun, so that helped a lot. Got that video done. I'm on my way right now over to, well, first I'm stopping at the bank, grabbing some cash, make sure I got my wallet. Yes, I do. And then I'm going over to meet a guy at the Citrus Park Mall. It's just into Tampa. Got a real good deal on a Panasonic GH3, which is a fairly high-end mirrorless camera. It's one generation old, however, just had my turning signal on all that time like an idiot. However, it's still very good for video. Not so great for stills, but that's not what I want it for. I need a better, more professional video camera. I still like the one I got, the Super Zoom, the Canon SX60. I got that for some very specific things, and I needed the zoom for that, and that's still going to work absolutely perfectly. But I started to play around with using it for my cigar videos, and I really liked the fact that it did 60 frames a second. It was a big improvement. But the problem was, it's a consumer camera. It's not professional grade by any stretch of the imagination, and there are several things about it that are just incredible time wasters and not so great quality. The biggest difference between a consumer camera and a professional camera is the sensor itself, specifically the size of it. Consumer cameras are very small. Smallest you get are in phones, which still can be very good. The iPhone 6 and 6S cameras are excellent cameras, and there's a couple of really excellent Android cameras as well. But they're very, very small sensors, and what happens is they're only great in very bright sunlight. As the light diminishes, so does their quality. And this Canon camera, it was okay till about ISO 400, which is daytime shade quality. Beyond that, man, oh, it's not that great. So nighttime videos, it's a stretch. And there is a bunch of other stuff. Talk about that when I get out of the bank here. Okay, got the cash. Onto the mall. So like I was saying, great camera for what it is, very consumerish. Some other problems with it, as far as using it for professional use, it's a lot of little stuff, all right? It's really a dual kind of camera. It's not meant to do anything great. It likes to be used in auto mode. It has a lot of different settings, but they're all geared towards people that don't know what they're doing. So it's easy to use. You just stick it in one of the settings and go. Problem with that is when you need control. For example, I was primarily, well, pretty much only using it for video, still am. And for the main purpose I bought it for, outdoor, very well lit, sunlight video where I need a zoom and all that kind of good stuff, it's going to be perfect. I am going to stick it in auto video mode and press record, and it's going to do everything I need it to do. But using it, for example, doing my cigar reviews where I've got it on a tripod, a few feet away from me, talking head kind of video, I'm just looking for really good, consistent quality, it's hard to use. It has a dedicated video mode. It'll shoot video in any of the modes. All you have to do is press record. But here's the thing. It only has manual video controls in the video mode. Now that's not a huge deal, but the problem is some of its other features get disabled if you're using it in video mode. And they're really helpful features, such as zoom memory. So when the camera turns off in the non-dedicated video mode and you turn it back on, it remembers where it was zoomed into and it goes back to that point. And that's important because there are no markings. You can't, set it against anything to know where you had to zoom in. So you have to play with the zoom back and forth, the look on the screen, and get the framing back where you had it. Well, when I'm doing 4 or 5 clips to do a cigar video, it's not that professional to have your framing a little bit different in every single clip. Normally with my normal pro gear that I use, it's a manual zoom and manual focus, or at least a locked autofocus. So it's mechanical. It's no big deal. You turn the camera on or off, start and stop a clip, nothing changes. It's mechanical. Well, this one, every single time I have to hunt and try to get it really close. But on all the other auto settings, it will remember the zoom, but not in the dedicated video mode. It's just like, stupid feature. They could have turned that on the video mode and it would have been great. All right, another thing is it won't remember if you have it on auto or manual focus. The autofocus for doing normal stuff, like if I was shooting a video out here of the car in front of me, or like the stuff I'm going to be using it for, is great. It keeps track of the whatever you're shooting and keeps it in focus, and it's silent and it's very good. However, when you are focusing on something relatively close, like say me, just a few feet in front of it, it hunts. It goes back and forth. It doesn't really lock on and stick there. And again, it has some different focus modes in the auto video compared to the manual video. And of course, the more advanced ones are only in the auto. So I use the manual focus, but every single clip I have to turn on manual focus. It's not a switch, it's electronic. This camera is all electronic. There's no manual physical controls, which again is a big differentiator between consumer and pro-grade stuff. Pro-grade stuff will give you mechanical or at least dedicated buttons and switches for functions. Well, this thing, everything has to go through the menu and buttons. So every single clip, I have to turn on manual focus, make sure it's in the same spot, and then I can start my clip, as opposed to just pressing record and going. And if you forget to do that and it stays on autofocus, you get bad results. Learn that the hard way. Another huge thing, and this is what I'm talking about. Remember when I said it's the redneck way to have stacks on your truck? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Why are these legal to belch out black, disgusting smoke, but yet gasoline cars have to have all controlled emissions and stuff like this? How stupid is this dude? How small is his penis? I mean, seriously. And this is what you see? There you go. That's perfectly legal. Yeehaw. I don't get it. It's just stupid. So anyway, another big thing, this is more of a time waster than a quality thing. They put the tripod mount, the little screw hole, on the bottom of the camera, obviously. However, it also has a bottom mount door for the battery and card compartment. And it's right next to the screw hole, meaning you can't open the door if you have it screwed into anything or if you have a tripod quick connect on. So every single time I use it, I have to screw on and off the tripod mount, which normally permanently lives on the camera. You know, you have your tripod and you have the mount for it, and it just stays there on the camera. You never have to take it off unless you change your tripod or sell the camera. Well, I have to screw this thing on and off every single time I do a shoot because I have to get the card out or I have to change the battery. That, number one, it's a pain in the butt. Number two, it wears it out. You know, it's not a rock solid kind of mechanism. You don't want to be torquing that thing more than you need to. I mean, especially not hundreds or thousands of times if I was going to be using this thing a lot, which would happen. I mean, just think about it. Anytime you want to transfer the files from your card, you had to unscrew a piece of the camera. It's just dumb. So anyway, there's a bunch of little stuff like that that just makes it not ideal at all. But I do really like the 60 frames a second. It makes a big quality difference in the video itself. So that's why I'm getting this GH3, which has, I mean, for all intents and purposes, professional grade video. It really does have an excellent sensor. There have been indie films produced on it, and then its successor, the GH4, which is still in production. But they didn't really have major updates to it in the video section. They had a lot of minor feature updates, but nothing deal breaker where, oh wow, you know, I really have to get the GH4. The GH4 is going for about $1,500-$1,600 right now, which works out to my advantage since I only need a GH3 as far as features go. So that allowed me to hunt around and get the best deal. I talked the guy down $50. So I'm saving a couple hundred, and it's cheap enough where, you know, it's not eating into my real camera budget. I'm still waiting until Christmas or so to see what Canon does, because I really would like, if they come out with it in time, a 5D Mark IV, which should be, I mean, unless they really screw the pooch, which should be their industry class leader camera. Their Canon is in catch-up mode right now. I mean, they have horrible comparative image quality in both stills and video compared to Sony, Nikon, and some of these other Micro Four Thirds like Panasonic even. So if they don't come out with something by Christmas, that's my final personal deadline. Then I'm just going to get a Sony. I'll go with the A7R2 or A7 2R, I can't remember which way they call it. And then have to switch all my lenses and stuff like that. Not a welcome thing, but the quality is going to be an amazing jump if Canon doesn't have anything. I mean, it very well may be that they come out with a 5D4 and it still sucks, because the 5D3 came out and was just a huge disappointment. It was still the best they had for their prosumer grade camera, but still behind the times when it came out. And then since then, they have been lapped by 2 generations. It's not even close right now. So anybody that's still on Canon, we're all in the same boat, and we're just hoping that they really do us right and really soon, because it's been years since they came out with anything even on par with Nikon and Sony. But $600, no big deal. You know, that's something where when I do get whatever the next camera it's going to be, it's going to replace this GH3 for its purposes. So I'll just sell the GH3, you know, $400 or $500, whatever. Big deal. Cheap enough to play around with until then for the next few months. But doing it just because I want to, got a QR code on the side of the sheriff's car there. Who scans those things anymore? Does anybody watching this scan QR codes in ads or in stores? I mean, it was a marketing craze when it came out, like, I don't know what, 4 or 5 years ago, and then they came out with apps for your phone where you could scan them. I have never even had the urge to whip out my phone and scan one of those things. I mean, it's like, what do they use them for? Sign up for an email list or get some lousy coupon or, you know, more information about something? I just don't get the connection with a physical product that you're looking at and whipping out your phone to do anything with it. The only cool thing that I've seen done in conjunction with your phone was, what was the brand? It was an ice cream maker. I think it started with an H, Haagen-Dazs. They had this really cool thing where you downloaded the Haagen-Dazs app for your phone, and their little ice cream pints in the store had codes on either the front or the top, I can't remember. But when you aimed the phone at them in the store, like you're taking a picture, it showed this hologram above the ice cream. I can't remember exactly what it was. If it was a band playing, I think it was some kind of musician thing or band. And if you put 3 or 4 different Haagen-Dazs flavors next to each other, it joined them all into a song. So I thought that was really cool. But that's it. I mean, that was just, you know, a cool marketing thing. But other than that, what is the point of a QR code on a product in a store, especially on a police car? I mean, seriously, what are you going to walk up to a police car with your phone for? To dial 911? Just dial 911. Anyway, I've got about a 20-25 minute ride, and then I'm going to chill out. I'm going to be early. It's only 10:15. Meeting him at the Starbucks in the middle of the mall. And there's an Apple store right there. I guess I'll check out the Apple Watch, kill some time. Oh, I put air in my tires this morning. Completely fixed the problem. Here's another tip for you. Do not trust just any old tire gauge. When I got home from the video last time, I immediately went in and grabbed one of my air tire gauges. You know, just a cheap old plastic gas station type tire gauge out of the garage, and quickly put it on my tires here just to see what I was at. And it read, I think it said 36, 37, something like that. And I usually keep my rear at 42. So I was reading, you know, 5 or 6 pounds low. Well, I put on my real tire gauge that's on my compressor that I use to fill the tires, and it was actually at 30. So that cheapo gauge was reading quite high. High enough where it was not anywhere near accurate as far as actually putting air in your tires. So beware of that. And with that in mind, I'm going to get a better gauge because I can't remember. I'm going to have to look under my seat. I can't remember what I have in there. I think I have a good digital gauge, but I may have just a cheap little one. I don't remember. I've never had to use it. Knock on wood, I've never had to use any of the emergency supplies I've ever had on a bike. And that's the way I'd like to keep it. However, I am going to make sure that I have a decent gauge in there to go along with the compressor. Oh, something else I got. There've been a number of people that said, you know, they watched the video I made on the what to carry on your bike video and that kind of stuff, and they didn't get the exact compressor I did. They got something similar, but they said when they plugged it in to the cigarette lighter in the bike, it blew the fuse. And that's because the compressor was pulling more amps than the fuse was rated for. It's a very low fuse, low amp fuse. It works fine with the one on the bike, all right? And I did a video for a guy to prove it. And I turned it on and said, you know, look here, it's working. It's not blowing the fuse. I can't vouch for any other compressor. However, just to be on the safe side, what I bought was a little adapter that has a receptacle for a cigarette lighter type plug, like on the compressor, that plugs right into the pigtail for my battery tender, which is going directly to the battery. So that way I can plug any compressor I want into it, not have to worry about blowing any kind of fuse, even under the most heavy load that I would ever have. I mean, I could blow up a car tire with it if I had to. So no worries about that. So if you are worried about that, or if you have a different compressor, if you have a pigtail, you know, it comes in handy. It's not just for plugging in your battery tender. You can run stuff off of it. They've got all kinds of adapters. They've got a USB one. They've got, like I bought, the receptacle for the cigarette plug. So I've got that under the seat. So no worries about that in the future. And that was only like $8 on Amazon. You can probably find it if you have a store that has accessories for them. My AutoZone carried the pigtail and a couple other little things. They didn't have the accessory for the plug. So you might find it local around you. You never know. Anyway, it's cheap insurance, and then you don't have to worry about it. So that's it, guys. I'm just going to enjoy my little ride here and hope it doesn't heat up too soon. We're already up to 86. I gotta really wash these bikes. Really, dude? Seriously? Yeah, you're a douche. They're turning. What a bitch. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up and we'll see you next time. Thought I'd give you a little tour of the inside here while I wait. a typical mid-sized mall around here. This is just a central corridor. Good restaurants. Then they go way down, about a quarter mile in each direction.